Southern Connecticut State senior Dan Elliott is one of the best swimmers in the Northeast 10 Conference, and he had big plans for this coming season. But as Eric Dobratz reports, Elliott's plans have been put on hold.
Go!
I've been swimming since I was about 8 years old. I definitely enjoyed it right away. I've always been around the water, being from the South Shore of Long Island. I was always in the ocean.
Dan Elliott's love for the water helped him become one of the best swimmers in the state of New York, and eventually brought him to Southern Connecticut State University. As a junior, he really started to make his mark in the pool.
Last year, I was actually multiple-time conference champion and conference record holder, both individually and on relays.
It was a good year.
It was a great year.
You know, he's done what he's needed to do to continue to become a better athlete, you know, and sometimes there's defining moments in an athlete's career, and I know that this is a defining moment for Dan.
That moment was this summer at Jones Beach in New York. Dan was working as a lifeguard.
It was actually the day that Hurricane Bertha was rolling in, so the swell was actually a lot bigger, and the tide was actually coming in and out much more quickly.
As a lifeguard for the last 5 years, Dan had probably made over 200 saves. He thought this one would be routine.
The guy was stuck out in a rip current, and I went out to get him. And what happened was that a wave was coming in, and it just wound up being bad timing. So I had to dive under the wave with my buoy. And what happened was the bottom being different, it was a little more shallow. And I wound up diving and actually hitting my head. And immediately I knew something had gone wrong because I hit my head and just felt a shock go through my entire body.
After struggling to get back to shore, Dan was airlifted to a local hospital.
I crushed the bottom of my C6, which is a vertebrae in my neck, and my C7 was completely collapsed. Basically, those are considered compression fractures. And there was also a fragment of C7 that was intruding into my spinal cord.
2 days later, Dan was in surgery to remove fragment and repair his vertebrae.
It was probably some of the worst pain that I've ever been through.
Shortly after his surgery, Dan's competitive spirit took over.
The day that I woke up from surgery and they took out the ventilator and the breathing tube, about 4 or 5 hours later, I was able to walk, which was an amazing feeling. I mean, the first thing I did when I stood up was hug my mom. And I mean, I hugged my mom and I hugged my dad, and it was just great to be able to stand up.
2 months later, Dan is walking and admittedly doing a little more than he probably should, but he still has not been cleared to get back in the pool.
It's definitely really frustrating, and I think about it every day. Like, I could be in there with them in my senior year. I'm a captain. I want to be in there so bad.
To not have him in the water obviously is a great loss for our program, but in typical Dan fashion, you know, he's on the deck, he's here every single day, he's helping out where he can.
I watch them every day, I give them tips and hints, and I try and motivate them. Today I was DJing in the coach's office playing music. They love that.
Dan hopes to be back in the pool this month. He cannot swim competitively this year, but after receiving a medical red shirt, he has plenty of options.
And right now I'm really just deciding where I want to take my life next and where I want to go to grad school. Southern is definitely one of the opportunities that I have.
Sometimes you really do get those model student athletes, and I certainly think Dan has proven that he is one, and I know that that will continue.
In New Haven, I'm Eric Dobratz, News 8 Sports.
And at least he injured himself doing something heroic, like tripping over his own feet. Yeah.
Hey, tomorrow.